We hope we've done it right. I think we're on. Let's hope so. Yeah, we've got a couple starting to appear. 5 of you. 6 of you, so yeah, just give me a couple of waves. That's, yeah, there's 1 or 2 people starting to appear. Yeah, that's it. A good thumbs up there. There we go. Yeah, there's a few of you starting to appear. Just get another couple of, just get a little short while before we get underway. Andrew Williams, how are we, mate? Hopefully see you soon down at the Glebe. Looking forward to it. Oh, there we are. There we go. Phil, Ewan, good afternoon. Dan Bowen, good evening. Evening even. It's only afternoon, we lose track of days, don't we? Hey up, Dan. Hope everything's alright. Clive, are you watching? I've got it working. Josh, Dan Powell, Dean Richmond, you're also on, and Andrew, you're all watching. So, right, now there's a few in you on here. I'm actually sat on my garden. So if there's a little bit of banging, there's 1 or 2 neighbours out and about, but there's some work going on inside and the internet connection weren't so clever. So I've come outside in my garden because it's a lovely day to be outside. So hopefully I don't bore you too long. I can waffle along, but I'll try my best. So what I'm going to do, I'll just give a little brief introduction on myself and tell you all about me, and then I'm going to throw it open to you. You guys can ask away with some questions and we'll see what's what. But before we start, I just want to say thanks to Clive for inviting me along and doing this for match fishing. It's been great what he's been doing, and just great that everybody's been in lockdown and it's kept all us anglers occupied by watching some of these great videos. He's had some great people on here, and I feel quite honoured he's asked me to do it as well. Like, so yeah, thanks for that, Clive. You're a star, a legend in his own making. So right, I'll tell you a bit about myself. Well, I'm Andy Kinder, as most of you know. Seem to have been fishing forever and a day, being at the slender age of 51. I started fishing when I was 4 years old, after a really difficult childhood, should I say, in the fact that I had cancer when I was 2, and it took best part of a year to get rid of it, and then having got rid of it, get it again, to then finally get rid of it for the 2nd time. So yeah, quite difficult for mum, difficult for dad, but yeah, I'm still here, and that was, yeah, 48 years ago. But enough of that. So yeah, progressed on to me fishing. I think I started fishing when I was about 4 years old. My dad, who was one of the original sort of Bream heads, fished it a lot at the time with the likes of Ivan Marks, Roy Marlowe, 1 or 2 of the other, you know, the Leicester likely lads. So I basically got brought up fishing a lot of Bream venues, middle level, 10 mile bank, and around the fens, because that's what the fishing was at that time. And it leads on to a great story in the way that angling's changed over the years and different things. And you know, the demise of the fens then came about when I was more or less in my teens, and then the Trent all kicked in, so ended up doing a lot of fishing on the Trent and that. I joined Barnsley when I was 21, ended up fishing for the great Barnsley team at the time for best part of 24 years, something like that. Grew up with some brilliant anglers who are still brilliant anglers today, like Alan Scotto and Dennis White, Tommy Pickering, you know, just to name a few, Dick Clegg, who I think are all certainly angling icons, legends, just absolute true gents at the angling game. And I class them truly as my friends, and I could pick the phone up anytime, speak to them, and they'll gladly answer any questions. In fact, I was talking to Alan this morning on phone. He rung me up talking to me about airfield. So it's really nice to be in that honoured position. And I left team fishing a good few years ago, now probably about 7 or 8 years ago, in the fact, you know, I got busier and busier with work. Most of you know I work for Maver. I've worked for Maver for the best part of 25 years. So if you've got any Maver questions, I'll gladly try and answer them as best I can. And yeah, I took the step to come away from team fishing. I felt team fishing was certainly reaching its peak, and probably wasn't anywhere near what it used to be when, you know, when I first started team fishing at a slender age of 13, 14, and it just seemed to have run its course. And in that, the bigger matches came about, you know, the likes of your Fishermanias, Match This qualifiers, Golden Reels, and things like that. And I think having fished as a team angler for all them years, I wanted a little bit of a new challenge, and I wanted to progress my own career a little bit. And I'd never really fished many festivals anywhere, and individual team fronts, so that's where I went. And it was a massive learning curve, a massive learning curve for me. You know, I think as a team angler, I think we all done it. You always put the team first, and then try and win the match as a secondary thing. But you know, fortune favours the brave now in individual fishing, and you know, it's a favourite saying of mine: if you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly, and you know, go down fighting, as they say. So I do enjoy that side of it now, and it took a big sort of learning curve as to what I was going to do, and adjusting my fishing. And same thing again, there's loads of comments coming on. I can't say hello to all of you. It was a big learning curve in my fishing, and I was always told from a younger age by doctors and that my health would probably deteriorate as I got older, in the fact that my back would start playing me up because of all my treatments, and it does. And I have to pick and choose my matches now, I really love to be able to fish 14.5 and 16 metre poles like I used to when I was a lot younger, but unfortunately them days are now long gone for me, I'm afraid, which is a shame. But so I do pick my venues now. I like my rod fishing. I do like the feeder matches. I think feeder matches have brought a massive big influx of anglers back into angling. And you see these lads on the feeder scene, and they go in every one. Afternoon, Dave Berry, I just seen you there. Dave's another one. Rob Hall, Bobcat Hall fishes all the feeder matches as well. You've just come on, and I just think it's been another massive influx to angling. We had the commercial scene, and that was another thing. Going back, you know, to my fishing, we had the original bream fishing. We then went to rivers, we went to canals, and you know, the birth of the commercials just brought a brand new wave of anglers along, which it's great. It's kept fishing going all these years, and different things and different aspects, and F1 fishing and things like that. It's just the evolution of angling. Hiya Bob, please, I hope you're alright, mate. Moved into your new house, and hope everything's going well for you. So yeah, you know, over the years there's been lots and lots of things which have digressed and changed and things in angling, but I think it's for the better, and I think ourselves as anglers, I don't think we've probably ever had it as good for the amount of big matches what we've got, the amount of variety of matches. You know, you look at the natural river scene, the river masters and things like that. You know, they're great competitions. For all the commercial guys, you've got likes of Match This and Fishermania and things like that, which keep you guys happy, and the canal pairs and everything. So there's a real big, broad sort of spectrum what all of us as anglers can come across and do. So I think we've never had it so good, really in fishing. And long may it continue, I might say, because without that, and without the younger anglers coming through, we have no fishing. So we need it. We need it. Thanks. I've just seen a comment from Donald. Hi, Andy, you never looked any older. But yeah, I've got a few more great. I've had to put my hat on today because we aren't having any haircuts in this current lockdown. What we've got, I think I look a bit like Captain Caveman under here. So I'll put my hat on and cover it up. But then on the other hand, most of you people never see me without an hat, so you probably might not even recognise me without an hat on. So so that's it. So yeah, I've just given you a little bit of a rundown as to what's up. So I'm hoping to keep this going by some of you guys asking a few questions on here. I'll try and just have a little thing back. Just seen one from Sean. Hi Andy, Sean Catburks. Andy, keep you well. I'm brilliant, mate. I really am. I'm glad we're all back fishing again, should we say? In this current climate. And I do think, and I will mention it at this stage, I think a lot of fisheries out there have really gone to town on things and created real sort of safe havens for us anglers to actually get out while this current pandemic's on, and you know, fair play to all the fisheries that have done that. Like I went to Hayfield at the weekend and helped run the matches, and I must say, I'm not blowing my own trumpet, it would run superbly well, and Nolly's done a great job at Maver Dynamite Hayfield Lakes to try and keep everybody as safe as possible. And I don't want to single that out, that's a venue I fish, but I feel sure other venues, I know Glebe for instance has done a lot of work and just keeping everybody safe and keeping everybody social distance on the bank, which is what we all want. And the sooner we can get rid of this nasty disease what's happening in the country, the better we can get back to some normality of fishing, where we can actually socialise again and start to take the mickey out of a few people, because that's certainly missing on it in a minute. But at least we are fishing. Am I fishing the Up for Heroes match on Saturday at Larford, David? I don't think I can actually go this Saturday, mate, but really thanks for your invite. I've got a few things on family wise as well, so unfortunately that's not. I must say welcome to everybody what has tuned in. I hope I'm not boring you too much, but we will get into some fishing if you throw us a few questions. Dave, better got you there, like so. Oh, I hope all you guys again. Here we go. Right, here we have our first question. Andrew Williams, here we go. What is your go-to ground bait for edge fishing for carps? Give me a nice little kiss there. I don't know if I should tell you this, Andy. Fishing against you every week, but I have been trying a few new ground baits, and one thing I didn't tell you, although I do work for Maver and I'm a sponsored angler by Maver, I also have a big connection with Dynamite Baits also. I was with Maruku for a good few years, and when they left the country, Dynamite approached me and asked me to be a consultant and sponsored angler for them, which I am, and I must say they're a fantastic company to work for. Do a lot of work with Mark Baker, who's their product development guy there, and we've done a lot of work on some of the new sticky pellet syrups and the new pellets, the new Silverfish F1 ground bait. The Silverfish swim stim ground bait. We worked on that virtually straight away, and I know that's gone down really well. A lot of lads using that now, so I like to think I played a big part in that. Another trumpet blow there, but no, Mark does a great job at Dynamite. But yeah, ground baits for carp. I'm still working on a few ground baits, Andy. What I do use, but I do like the normal natural colour swim stim. I'm not a big lover of any red ground baits, and dare I say, I'm not particularly fond of the greener type ground baits. Although, you know, swim stim green is probably the biggest selling ground bait of all time. But I've never been a big sort of green or red colour fan. I prefer the natural coloured ground baits, and by that I mean the browns, the dark browns, and things like that. So I would always use natural swim stim. I would always put into it the marine pellet, and I have also been using the method mix. So a mix of them 3 ground baits put together are what I've been using for my edge fishing. I've also been using it for my feeder fishing as well for carp. Been using them three mixed equal parts, and if I do want to add any bigger particles to it, I'll look at adding some of the method mixers, which they do. The ones for the carp lads, I'll put some in if I want a lot more coarser, sort of thicker, chunkier ground bait for them fish. But a mix of them 3 I've found best. When I add a little bit of a sweet into it, I'll always add a little bit of the F1 yellow ground bait in the F1 swim stim. That just adds that little bit of sweetness. I'm a big sweet fan. I love chocolate myself, so you know, who don't like chocolate? I'll always add a little bit of a sweet into my ground baits, be it summer and winter. I'm more of a sweet rather than savoury type person in all my additives. So hope that's answered that one. Best method on Spessy Lake at Larford, that's to you, Dave Stott. Well, I think we're having a big change in the weather this week. As it stands, we've got a beautiful day today, 26, 27 degrees. There'd certainly be some fish to be caught on a Pellet Wagler, but we might have to look at the weekend. We've got a nice low pressure coming in, and low pressures sometimes send the fish down to the bottom. So certainly you're going to need a bomb and pellet line and a Pellet Wagler set it up. Now this you can do around about 25 metres. Constantly keep firing a few pellets in, and it'll give you the best option of either fishing a waggler if the fish are up, or you can have them down on the bottom on either bomb and pellet. Never be afraid to fish a method feeder over the top. I think that's a fantastic method on lots of commercials, in the fact that you can have a 3 sort of prong attack over the very same line, and be it that 25-30 metres. It's a great line in the fact that you can constantly fire your 8mm pellets. I know this works at Barston, it certainly works at Larford, it works also at Maver Dynamite, Airfield Lakes as well, and it gives you the best of 3 options. You can either have them on a waggler, you can either have them on a bomb if they're feeding on a bomb, or you can fish a method over the top. And I must admit, I enjoy fishing a method over the top of these pellets what you're firing in, because if the fish are constantly looking for pellets, and by that I mean 8mm pellets, they're intercepting them on way down, that's when your waggler works. If they're really wanting to feed on 8mm pellets and you've got them grubbing round on the bottom, that's when your bomb and pellet works. So you've always got that in your armoury. But sometimes you will get that in between, when the fish they don't want to be right up here, they don't want to be right down there, and they'll sit somewhere in the middle. Well, when that happens, that is when your method feeder tends to work at its best, because what you've actually done, you've got a nice little ball of pellets round your feeder. You've always got that target bait in it, and you know you can fish either a wafter, a wowser, or an 8mm pellet, or things like that. So you put that bang in the middle of the ball, and what happens, your method goes straight to the bottom, and as you're firing the 8mm pellets in, you're hoping to send them carp from what's mid-water down to the deck. And what should be there from on the deck, you've got a massive big sort of plate of pellets. And carp are greedy fish, but they're also, you know, quite educated in what they do, and they see that pile of pellets on the bottom as something what they can't resist. You know, it's a bit like us when we're at a buffet and we walk up to a table, we always pick the biggest chicken leg, because the greed factor always sets in. And I think carp are exactly the same. So you've got that big pile what's on the bottom to catch them like that. So they're three good methods what will work at Larford for you, Dave. They'll also work on loads and loads of other venues. I've probably missed loads of things here. Gareth Walton out, pal. Hiya Gareth, you alright mate? Right, what's the positive and negative changes you have seen in angling during the last 10 years? And how have these affected angling? Gareth, hard question mate. I think the positive things is we've now got such a diversity in everything what we do, and I think I said it earlier on my post. We've got the bigger competitions which are on commercials, which, you know, loads and loads of anglers fish them. You've got your river masters, you've got your canal masters, so you're covering a really broad sort of spectrum of anglers for all disciplines. You've got the feeder masters team qualifiers, which Lee Kerry and Mick Viles run superbly, I must say. And there's something there for there's something really there for everybody. I think the other thing that has probably changed over the last 10 years is the downside to team fishing, which is bad really, because, you know, I was a team angler at heart, and I really enjoyed my team fishing, and it's something I wouldn't ever change for the world, really. I really wouldn't, because I think as team anglers we learn and learn so much, and you learn so much off everybody. And when you become an individual angler, you've only got ideas to bounce off yourself. Yeah, if you've got a travelling partner, brilliant. You bounce ideas off each other. So yeah, there's something. I'd love to see more juniors get back fishing. I really would. Really would love to see more junior anglers, and certainly more ladies out on the bank, because it's a great pastime and great sport what we're all involved in. And I think we are seeing it now. I think with the current sort of lockdown, what's happening, I think we are seeing a lot more new faces on the bank. And I had a drive down to my local lake, and I see loads of people down there, families who, you know, you could tell had never ever fished before, and wanted to get involved. And, you know, it's a great sport we all love, and why shouldn't we? We need to certainly get more kids off Xboxes and onto seat boxes. And I have been involved in junior angling for a good few years ago now with Sheffield Juniors, and loved every minute of it. You know, coaching kids, I think, is something what a lot more people should get back into, and I really think it's probably something Angling Trust should look at. They're our governing body, and I really think they should try and put a little bit into junior angling as best they can. Junior nationals years and years ago, there were hundreds and hundreds of kids. You have a junior national now, and we just have it on a local commercial and get like 50 people there if we're lucky, which is sad really. Because yeah, all you anglers watching, we've all been kids once, and yeah, that's what we did. I'd like to see more in it. So that's what I think the changes are, Gareth. F1 venues as well. I think F1 venues have come to the fore in the last 10 years, and there's some brilliant F1 anglers. Don't get me started on F1s. I really don't like them at all. Problem is I'm too old to match some of you young guns at catching F1. So I'll leave that to you. You Andy Bennett's and Jamie Hughes of this world out there, and some of these young whippersnappers, Sam Collett and all them, they're a bit good at it. I'll keep going through here. Dave Brown, any news on Maver Match This? I'd really love to tell you a bit of news on Match This, Dave, but unfortunately we're still all off work. With furlough, we're only a couple of people in the warehouse sending orders out, and we've not really had chance, any of us, to get together and put our heads together on it. But which is a shame really, but in the current climate, unfortunately, there's not a lot any of us can do at the minute. But you know, we'll as quick as we can, we will get it sorted, and if it happens this year, it happens. If it doesn't, we'll move the qualifiers on to next year, and we really will try and get it sorted out as quick as possible for you anglers out there. But we are just in like I say, a real difficult situation at the minute with everything what we're in. Right, Clive, question from Gus Roberts. Hi Clive, I hope everybody's enjoying it. Question from Gus: do the short F1 kits fit the 401 competition? No, they don't, unfortunately. the competition 401 pole, which we did, is quite an old pole, and the power kits are completely different to the current ones which are out there on the market, mate. So unfortunately, Gaz, they don't fit. Right, Zyke, any news on match this? I've just answered that. I hope you were watching, Zyke. Like I said, as soon as we can all get back into some normality, we will get onto it. But it will be sorted out, mate. And you'll just have to bear with us, unfortunately, in this horrible time. But it will be sorted out for you. Barry Rogers, Lindholm has done some amazing. Yes, they have. They have. As I'd like to think of all the commercial fisheries out there and lakes and that around the country, I'd like to think they've all done a fantastic job in getting us anglers back on bank and keeping us all safe, and keeping social distancing levels there, and you know, hand sanitizer and things like that. I know Aaron and Neil do a great job, and Bev at Lindholm, so they have a fantastic fishery as a lot of others, and yeah, I see the videos and that what they do a great job there. So full mark, there we go. Loads of people watching. Hey Mark, Chris Needham, how are you, Chris? Great comments other day on Facebook. Really liked them. You do make me laugh. There's my dad. Look, Steve Cook. Hey up, Dad. Mark Vanessa Price. Mark is watching. I have got a question here for you, Mark, and we'll carry it on. Why don't they do clothing in our sizes, Mark? Well, anybody what doesn't know, Mark, and I'm sure most of you do, runs Stainforth Angling Centre in Doncaster. Runs a tidy little shop up there, Mark. Me and Mark are really two different ends of the spectrum when it comes to sizes. I'm quite small. I would say muscular, but certainly not. I'm quite at the small end, and Mark's really quite at the large end. So if anybody were making any clothes for me and for Mark, they could probably make my clothes out of Mark's offcuts, and vice versa. But Mark did ask me a question, and it was put on the match fishing post. Why is there not clothing made in our sizes by companies? And yeah, I have that problem, and I know Mark certainly has that problem. And anybody what suffers with that, yes, we know that Alcanunt do fantastic fishing clothing made to measure, and that is really the majority where us anglers go. I want clothing, but as far as off the peg clothing goes, and actually buying it, the amount which you physically have to buy to make it possible becomes awkward. It's not the fact that you can have like 50 of these made or whatever. The quantities you have to order in are far bigger than the actual supply needs what us as anglers would want. And it's same with small clothing or kids clothing. I get asked for kids clothing at work quite a lot, and what I think a lot of people out there what are looking for clothing and things like that, as companies you're only allowed to bring a certain amount of clothing into the country per year, with clothing quotas which the government set and things like that, and that also becomes difficult. I think it's probably to protect the clothing industry within the UK and other things. So the amount of clothing you have to bring in to make it viable, to make it profitable for yourselves as companies and for the anglers, it becomes difficult, and I think that's why there's never many clothing done in our sizes for anglers, which is a bit of a pain in the bum, but unfortunately we have to live with it. I've got used to it over all these years. I just got a mother care look after me, really do. My father-in-law's watching. Terry, hope you're enjoying it, mate. I'm not boring you too much. Mark Griffiths, hope you're keeping well. And Simon Duke, I've not seen you, Simon, for a long time, mate. Keep up the good work at Sky. Just come down here. Here we go. Simon Duke, how much better is the new 800 pole over the Signature Pro 800? Well, it's the new 821. which we're doing for this year. We looked at improving it rigidity wise. We also looked at improving it as best we could strength wise. I know Lee Edwards had a big input in these, as did a few of our sponsored anglers, but Lee actually went across to Reglas, who make our poles in Italy, and spent a lot of time with him in Italy, and altered the pole slightly through the middle 3 or 4, so like the 5, 6s and 7s, in the fact that you could, by doing that, it also increased its rigidity through the pole. The kit packages we also looked at, because everybody likes brilliant kit packages and things like that. So we looked at the kit packages and things and made them better on the Pro. You actually get a couple of packages, in the fact that you can have a commercial package which is all power kits, or you can have the standard match package which gets you match kits, number 4 sections, short number 4s and things like that. So the main thing was like A, making it stiffer, B, making it lighter, better kit packages. And you actually put them 2 poles side by side, Simon, you could physically tell when you pick the pair of them up, you will see the difference. It's a massive difference. Far better pole. You'll love it. You will love it when you pick it up. Paolo Donete, hiya Paolo. Paolo's my friend, does all the social media work for Maver Italy and for Reactivates and also Reglas. Does a great job on all the websites. So keep up the good work, Paolo. And that were a lovely carp you caught this morning, what you sent me a picture of. And I will say, over in Italy, they're really getting into their feeder fishing. Feeder fishing is now massive in Italy and getting bigger. Hi Rich, Carl, Kim, Nick, John, here we are. We got right. Question from Mark Lee. Hi Mark, here we are. What is your go-to length of hook length on the bomb, and do you worry about silt? Right Mark, my go-to size hook length would be 12 inch. I was a 12 inch hook length for majority of my fishing. A lot of these commercials we fish, they're not the deepest of places, and I do think a foot covers you for most of the hook lengths and things like that. The only place I do differ, and I may have a slightly longer hook length, is on a lot of your deeper waters, for instance, such as Larford and such as Ayfield, where it's a lot deeper. I'll have some hook lengths done up which are actually 3 foot long, and the reason for that I have a 3 foot hook length is a lot of fish, like I was explaining earlier through this video, you'll get days when the fish don't want to be right up here, they don't want to be right on the bottom, they will sit in that middle bit. So by having a longer hook length and feeding pellets, you'll get that nice little steady bit longer fall by having a 3 foot hook length on. And I will tell you a little secret. Jamie Hughes, when he actually won Match This final last year, used a longer hook length than normal, and he also used an expander pellet on the hook, not a hard pellet. So go out, all of you get yourself some 8mm expanders, pump them, try them on your bomb and pellet, because when them 8mm pellets have sat on the deck for quite a while, they blow up to quite a big size, and sometimes you'll fool even the trickiest a big carp by having a big puffed out expander on the bottom, and you get that natural fall of them. So Jim will probably hate you telling you that, but there's a little secret for you. That's how he won 60,000 quid by fishing a big expander on the hook. So that's something to try. Don't worry about silt, not really. Inevitably your bomb is going to sink into the silt, with your hook length it will sit on the top. So don't ever worry about silt. I do get that question asked quite a lot when we're fishing at Boston and things like that, but fish will grub about in silt. I've spoke to Rob Hughes numerous times about it, and they do like to grub about in silt as long as it's not too deep, too thick, and too I will say too shitty, the horrible shitty silt what's in there, but they will feed over it. So don't worry about silt. We're more worried about silt rather than the fish worrying about it. And if you start to get some bubbles in your peg, it means they're grubbing about in the silt to get the pellets what you're firing in. So don't worry. And one other little tip: you know, it's always sometimes good to fish a bigger or a brighter hook bait in among all your others what you're feeding, because it's a pick-out, stand-out bait. So right, I'll move up. Donald Bain, hi Donald. Andy, as you know, I am a disabled angler. I went today but couldn't find a peg that I could reach. Is it time for dedicated disabled pegs? Too right, Donald. I totally agree with you. I do think now. I think you know, my mother-in-law's actually she's disabled, and we do have problems sometimes taking her out. Even at times going into some pubs, which I think in this day and age it's something that shouldn't be tolerated. You know, as a society, I think, you know, we're all getting older, and we really need to look after some of these places and to actually get you onto your pegs. And I'm sure some venues are disabled friendly, some certainly aren't, but that's something that especially commercial or some commercial fisheries should definitely be looking at, some type of a disabled access. So really feel sorry for you there, Donald, if you wanted to actually get out and do some fishing. Josh Methman watching. Hiya Josh, you alright mate? Mark Crowler, Brett Clark, hiya Brett, here we go. David Start, here we go. Andy, would you advise against clipping up on the feeder in open water? Two schools of thought on that, David. I tend not to clip up on open water, especially this time of year, because you can seriously get your rod pulled in. You'll be hitting your clipper and things like that. This time, excuse me, I'm rabbit on a bit more. There's times when it certainly helps to clip up when you're actually building a peg up. I always clip up when I fish Barston, especially when I'm fishing at a distance. I might be fishing 60, 70 metres at Barston, and I clip up because, yeah, I am trying to build a peg up, but by fishing at that distance and by fishing the monos, if you do get a fish that's absolutely like tearing off, you'll have more than enough stretch in your line to actually get the clip off before you're actually going to be in trouble. But as far as clipping up fishing at like 20, 25, 30 metres, we can sometimes be asking for trouble because, you know, the rod's like round it's in and they're virtually trying to pull you in, and you have absolutely no chance of getting your clip off in time. So my advice, if you're fishing short on a bomb or a method like that, I wouldn't clip up. If you're going a lot longer distances, you've got that split-second chance of taking your clip off and mecking it before it actually tries to do you. But I've seen so many rods pulled in, or so many people like trying to get to your clip, and it's all over before we've even started. But practice on your casting. Long as you're somewhere around where you're actually firing your 8mm pellets in or things like that, that's perfect. You'll be somewhere near your bait. I would clip up if I were fishing to an island of some description, because you don't want to be squirrel hunting. Hope that's answered your question. Yeah, see loads of squirrel hunters, don't we, sometimes? It's good for business, bad if you're an angler. Everybody watching. Hiya Martin watching. Ken, Ian Maltby, hiya Ian, hope you're keeping well mate. Hopefully see you soon down at Barston or Meadowlands. John Beasley, hiya John. Trevor Price, Trevor's done a great job in lockdown, doing some great videos on Alder's farm site. Sure, anglers out there gone to Alder's. They've got a fantastic setup and a great shop. Anybody what's into guns and that, try the gun range at Alder's farm, because it's brilliant. I've never been into guns or shooting, but I did look at that shooting range, what they've got, and fantastic. Any of you guys want to try and buy a gun? Hey up Rob Bobcat Hall, great feeder anglers. Rob, his dad's better though. His dad's better. I grew up fishing with his dad, Dave. What a lovely bloke, and taught me a lot about bream fishing. One of the original bream heads is Dave. Love him to bits, and his best mate Kevin. They taught me lots when I was younger. Paolo's come back to me from Italy. Andy, your advice for big carp feeders margin fishing? Thank you. By that, Powell, I probably think you mean method feeder or method feeder fishing for margin fish. Yeah, I think we've all had it sometimes that when we're actually trying to catch some carp down the margins, they don't want to play. They're certainly not nice. We get loads and loads of daft bites on the pole float, and sometimes we can trick them a little bit by fishing a method feeder over the top. Well, if you fed ground bait, certainly put ground bait around it. If you fed pellets, you can put pellets around it. Don't be shy of that. I think margin fishing sometimes with a method is the only way to catch the real, how can we put it, the educated ones, which I do think a method sometimes, a method feeder I think is the ultimate sort of trap to catch a carp, in the fact you've got that pile of bait, your bait is bang on the top of it, and it sometimes fools even the daft, not always, but it sometimes fools the daft ones. But if you're ever fishing a method feeder in the margins, always make sure you fish a completely slack line. You've no need to tighten up to your feeder while it's down the edge. Fish a completely slack line, because when they start to come in and start to feed on your margins, you'll get loads and loads of daft liners indications. But you just fish a completely slack line, and you'll see the line tighten up, and your rod go, hold on to your rod, because they will absolutely rip it out your hands. So yeah, do try it, Paolo. You will catch a lot of fish. Little tip, always fish a slack line. Watch the line go before your rod goes, and hang on for dear life. James watching. Hi James. Chris Simpson. Stu Merrills from Barnsley. Hope you're alright, Stu. Any tips, Tom Batterbear? Any tips for Glebe Lake 1? Take it you've got a match on there, Tom, soon. Well, Lake 1 is the biggest lake on the complex at Glebe. You've got 30 pegs on that. Me personally, I would start at 5 metres, top kitten 1, top kitten 2. Try and look for about 5 foot of water, wherever you have that on, either a top kitten 1 or top kitten 2. Fish 6mm pellets. 6mm pellets or corn, take your pick. If it's a really, really windy day and it's towing and it's horrible, I'd fish corn, because it gives you that option to hold it on the deck. If it's a nice sort of day and you can present pellets right, fish 6mm pellets. Nice and steady. Don't fall into the trap of feeding loads and loads and loads of bait, because I think at times at Glebe they've got used to, or they've wised up to massive amounts of bait. So nice and steady weight, half a dozen pellets, and just feed and try and catch one fish. Once you've caught one, try and catch another. So it's 6 pellets, 6 pellets, 6 pellets. I see a lot of people make lots and lots of mistakes on commercials, in the fact that they shout time, they put a big pole pot on, they go bosh, a load of pellets in, and they've ruined the peg straight away. The fish on commercials, they're in front of you all the time, and you sometimes need only a little bit of bait to trigger them into feeding. So by feeding big volumes of bait, they know that they can come back anytime they like and pick that bait up. So treat them mean, keep them keen is the way forward. So 4 and 5 pellets, nice and steady. Feel your way in from there. You can fish shallow if you want to. Glebe's one of them places that you can literally go and fish exactly how you want to fish it. You know, if you want to fish pace, by all means fish pace. You want to fish a long pole, shallow, by all means do that. Always a lot of feeder fish to be caught at Glebe, chucking right tight at far bank. Never ever discard your margins. Your margins at Glebe, you can go from 0 to hero in half an hour when they turn up down your edges. So never ignore your edges. Don't start there. Try and make it a late thing for you to catch down Glebe. Ground bait and maggots. That's the key at Glebe down the edge. They love ground bait and maggots. Paul Ice watching. Andrew Nicholas Walker. Andy, is Andy there? Is still club appetite for this? Is it something you could sort? Is there club appetite for this? Is it something you could sort? Andrew, I'm not quite sure what you're on with your question. mate. What I would say to you, Andrew, if you wanna message me on Facebook or something like that, tell me what it is. I'll come back to you. I don't quite understand. I'm not Brighty Sparking Toolbox at times. No. we can go from the Gareth's watching. Ian Doc say hi, Ian. Andy, hi mate. Can you recommend? Andy, hi mate. I can highly recommend a day's fishing with this guy. I think he means me. Cheers, Ian. Yeah, Ian had a day's coaching with me at Barnsley Lakes, and we had a great day and we caught some lovely fish. He had a 22 pounder that day. So thanks for that, Ian. Thank you for the kind words, mate. It's much appreciated. Barry's watching, Steve Baker's watching, John Hudson, Scotty Poynton. Hiya, Scott, mate. Long time no see. I'm sure we'll catch up at Boston one time or another. Lee Butler. Lee Butler, what's your go-to hook length for bomb? Went through that earlier, Lee. I don't know if it was there. I don't know if I'm getting the same. No, I'm not. My go-to hook length is a foot. I think I explained it earlier. I always have a foot. The deeper venues such as Larford and Ayfield and places like that, I'll go with the 3 foot hook length because they sometimes fall them pellets down. Look for bites on drop, mate. You'll see them there. Paul Barnes is watching. Hiya, Paul. Right, Paul Kits. How do you sort your box height for long pole being slightly vertically challenged? I'll give you that one, Paul. I'm about 4'11". Well, I'm not actually. I'm 5'3". You should meet my mum actually. She's only 4'11", so we weren't blessed with height in our house at all. Paul, this is going to really shock you. This when I tell you this. I never have much problem when it comes to seat boxes because we are all in your examining, mate. I have got really, really long arms. I have got really, really long legs and a really, really short body. So I actually need my seat boxes slightly higher than normal because of the length of my legs. I'm just vertically challenged in this like little middle bit here, and that. So yeah, it is a problem, but it's something I've never really had a problem with. I'm using one of the new Signature D36 seat boxes at the minute, which I just find absolutely awesome. I love my new box, and I think if there were a fire in my house, I'd get my box and my rods out before anybody else. My missus probably, she'll be watching this. She'll be having me arse hair later for that. So no, but if you are looking for a seat box, Paul, just go out, have a look and find one that's right for me. Sorry about that. I had a phone call while we were doing that. Yeah, just go out and find one what's actually right for you. Find one what you can get comfortable on and get your, there's nothing worse. I see people on the bank, they don't set up right. They sat either forward, sat back like that. You see them like crouching. You've got to get comfy on bank. You've got to get comfy on bank because you know, you'll all suffer with a bad back in later life. So make sure you get yourselves comfy. It's the most important part of the day. When we sit down to watch a film at night, we get comfy on the settee, don't we? Get yourself comfy on the bank. Chris is watching. Richard Brook, hiya Richard. Andy, did you see... Do you see the drawing of match pace similar to what you did at Ayfield at the weekend becoming the normal for the future, as there wasn't a clamber for drawing and made a nice rolling draw? Richard, I think in the current climate, mate, I think we've got to put up with this certainly for a while. We have, and we did have a rolling draw at the weekend at Ayfield, which was really good. People pulled up in the cars, paid the money through the windows. We took it off them with a pole pot, put it in the Graham drew 'em a peg. Yeah, I can see it being on for a good while yet. Unfortunately, it's always nice to draw yourself. You put your destiny in your own hands, but I think with the current climate and everything, what's happening, it's going to be weird for a while. So We just have to we can blame somebody else when we draw bad, can't we? Blame somebody else. We can blame Graham at Hayfield or Nigel at Barcelona, and we can blame them, can't we? Not that we would. Mark can run quicker than them. Paul, Paul, Tony Quinn, Dave Turton, Bill Knight, Matt Ablewhite. Hey up, Matt. Matt works at Dynamite. Keep up the good work, Matt. You're doing a great job. Hi, Macaulay. Simon Jew, 821. That's the one. That's it, Simon. You have a look at that, mate. It's an awesome poll. And then we're watching Alan runs the matches on the tidal trend. So well done, Al. Hi, Edward Fitzjohn. Scott Rourke. Yes. See you're watching. We'll sort that day out, Scott. No two ways about it, mate, bro. Scott Rowe, yeah, you've got a question here. What's best bit of new kit coming out? Right. Well, some new stuff which is just hit the warehouse and it is in shops now. We have got a new Tricore elastic. It's an Oller elastic. I've used I did use the prototypes a little bit and had a little play with them. I know Tommy Pickering did as well as Lee Edwards and a few of the Dave Burley were using some as well, a few of the consultants. And it's a new Oller elastic, and most people, if you actually look at a hollow elastic, you'll see there's always the outer colour, and then you'll get a core inside of a colour. Now it might be a clear core, which they call like an amber core, or it might be white, or it might be black. Right, if it has a black colour, it tends to be stronger. If it has an amber core, it tends to be quite soft and stretchy. And the white cores are exactly the same. They've got a lot more stretchiness about them. They stretch a lot further. Right, we've got a new Tricore elastic out, which is a 3-core system. The inner core is black, is then another core around it, and then the main coloured core goes on the top. I actually used this elastic at Hayfield at the weekend, and I know Tommy Pickering used it exclusive, and he couldn't wait to get round and tell me how good he thought the new elastic was. And having used it myself a little bit at the weekend and catching a few fish with it, absolutely awesome. An awesome bagging elastic. Any of you people, it's only available in 4 sizes, and you'll have to bear, I think it's like an 11 to 14, 14, 15 to 18, 18, 20 and 20 plus. It's a proper serious bagging elastic, but it powers up really quickly. So any of you guys catch a lot of like bigger carp or venues where you're looking for weights, check the new Tricore elastic out. That's the new bit of kit what's come out, and proper impressed with it. So definitely worth a look. That, Scott, of the new stuff. Oh, missed a question there. Alex asking, I go 15-inch hook lengths, maybe go to around 10 to 12-inch depending venue I fish. All comes down to how fish are behaving, in my opinion. Yeah, that's very true, Alex. What I would say to you is we all fish different. You can't actually say whether I'm right, he's right, who's right. It's all down to personal choice, and if you're happy with 15-inch hook lengths, that's fine. That's fine. You know, use 15-inch hook lengths or use 10 to 12. I like the 12-inch hook lengths. We go to Glebe, we have to use 20-inch hook lengths, but that's the fishery rule at the end of the day. But use what you're happy with. Fishing is all down to confidence. If you're confident, you'll always catch more fish. The best bait you can ever have, there's no wonder bait, the best bait you can ever have is confidence. Confidence catches more fish than any maggot, caster, pellet, super pacer, all like that. Confidence catches fish. And if you're confident, it'll go. I often get asked, oh, what's your favourite colour waft or what you use, Andy, or whatever. Well, your favourite colour's the one you catch the most fish on. And the one that catches the most fish on is the one you're most confident in. So, confidence catches fish. So just remember that. Are you a believer in different thermal levels in water? That question was asked from Matt Wilson. Yes, I am. I am, Matthew. I think at certain times of year, the fish will live in different thermals in the water, especially in winter. It's a bit like us. If we're cold and there's a fire on in the room, we'll go and sit inside at fire because we want to be warm. So carp, I think I said it quite earlier, carp are quite lazy creatures. They will sit where they want to sit and be happy in their most happiest place, be it if the warmest water's 2 foot off the bottom, they'll sit in that 2 foot off the bottom. They'll excuse me, they are quite lazy fish. So I do think thermal levels are, I mean, I'm a big believer in that, especially in winter. We catch a lot of fish at Ayfield in winter on Wagler, and Ayfield can be 18 foot, 20 foot deep in some places, but we catch a lot of fish at Ayfield between 5 and 10 foot deep in winter. So they're actually sat somewhere in the middle thermals where it's the nicest place for them to be. I think pressure plays a big part in commercial fisheries, and I think normal natural fisheries this time of year. If we've got a real high pressures tend to bring fish up off the bottom. Low pressures tend to send them down. And I've had quite a lot of chats with carp lads, and they're big believers in the pressures affect fish and how fish feed, or carp feed in particular. I'm a big believer in the moon phases, what we get as well. You know, the full moons, new moons, and things like that. Never like full moons, although I do think the biggest fish what always get caught on full moons, and especially harvest moons. Any big carper worth his salt will tell you that harvest moons produce big fish. And a little story, I've got to tell you this little story. I used to do a bit of work with Derek Ritchie, who's a really well known carp angler. And he was working at Maver at the time. We were doing trade shows, and he'd been going to a fishery trying to catch this. I don't know if it was a 50 or a 60 pounder, and this fish, for some unbeknown reason, always got caught around October time. Just before we went into winter, it used to feed up this fish, and it always got caught. And it had not been caught for 18 months, this fish, and he'd religiously gone for it. And it got to trade show times at work, and our trade shows at that time started at the end of September, early October, and we were at a trade show. It was actually in Sheffield at the trade show, and right at the start of the trade show he says, "I think that fish will come out this week, Andy. It's a full moon. Pressure's right. I think it'll get caught." I went, "Nah, come on." I says, "It's waiting for you." The very next morning he got a phone call off his mate, and it had been caught, the one he wanted. So he was absolutely gutted about that. So, you know, moon, I'm a big believer in the moon phases and things like that, but you'll always notice when it's a full moon, check the results. Inevitably, a lot of places will fish poor, and I think that's solely due to their gravitational pull on the earth. But we'll not go into that one. We could talk about it all night. It's whether you believe or you don't believe, but it's something I've always done. Ian's going to give that a go. Gold Valley, nice tip, glad about that. Alex asking, I fished a place in Wakefield called New Miller Dam, very hard water for bream. Yeah, I know New Miller. Never fished it, Alex, but I do know it. I jumped on with expanders and bagged up 34 bream in 6-hour session. Best session to date for my bream fishing. Well done, mate. That's brilliant. But it just goes to show you, a good few years ago, we'd have never ever fed a pellet to try and catch a bream. We'd have always fed casters, maggots, worms, and things like that. So I think our habits have changed as anglers as well, in the fact that what we throw at fish, we suddenly realise that, like, bream love pellets, they also love fish meal. If I'd have asked that question years and years ago, asked Ivan Marks whether he thought fish meal were the right thing for bream, he'd have probably looked at me, gone out. But yeah, things change and anglers change. But that's a fantastic session, that, Alex. Well done, mate. You had a great day there. I bet you were covered in slime after all that lot, weren't you? Yeah. But your missus were pleased when she had to wash all your stuff. Gary Shipwright, afternoon, Andy. How's things? I'm very well, Gary. I'm glad we're all back out fishing. I'm really enjoying this weather. I hope you are too. Ian Doxy, how's the better half? She's great. She's actually in the house. She'll probably be watching this on Facebook, so I don't want to say too much about her. But she's still nagging me, mate, so she must be alright. But no, she's brilliant, is Sarah. She does a great job with UK champs as well, so fair play to her. I love her to bits. As do most of your anglers. I think you all love my missus more than me sometimes. Richard's watching. Hiya Rich, hope you're keeping well, keep reading your post. Terry Hill, hiya, and hiya Terry. Alex asking, what's your views on Colin's new look on his shop over at Air Tackle? Colin's got a lovely shop there, Alex, at Air Tackle. It does look well, the shop. I can remember going in to see Colin when I first started, and he got his shop set up, and we set a Maver account up for him. So he's got a great shop there. Does a nice little bit of Facebook stuff to push his shop, and I know he's got a nice little clientele base over at Air Tackle. So well done, Col. Keep up the good work there at Air Tackle. Martin, were any dates on Maver matches as yet? Colin, Martin, I spoke earlier, mate. We still none of us are back down into lockdown, but we're gonna try and get this hopefully sorted when we're all allowed back in work. And I'd love to get a comment on it, mate, but I really can't, because we've only a couple of warehouse staff in and one in accounts at the minute, and all our details are all in there, so can't really say so. Ethan, hope you're keeping well, Ethan. Ethan's a young junior Fishermania finalist last year. He's a really good up and coming angler, Ethan. So you'll keep doing what you're doing, mate. I'll look at your Facebook posting, brilliant. Roy Butterfield, hey up, Roy. Richard, yes, the fence does need a lick of paint, mate, but well, never mind. It's not my fence, that. It's next door neighbours. Sorry about that. I can't reach the top anyway. Right, Trevor, hey up, Trev. You alright? Trevor Holmes, hope to see you at Boston soon as well, Trevor. Gary Shipwright, what's best for Bream on commercials? Gary Shipwright, Bream on commercials, I don't think you can ever really go wrong with pellets. Gary, Bream love pellets. They get pellets fed literally all the time, so you know they love micros. They love an expander. I would never ever not have corn in my armoury when it comes to catching bream on commercials. Really wouldn't. I think any bream worth its salt will definitely eat corn. But I think you know your best, especially this time of year when the fish are looking around for bait and wanting to feed bream in particular. You'll never go far wrong with pellets. Winter time, I think you can go more onto your natural baits, such as your worms and your maggots and casters and things like that. But even in winter, you will catch lots of bream on pellets. So I do think they're your best baits. Some venues what allow me catch massive weights of bream on meat as well. So keep that one in mind as well. Michael Buckwelder watching. Hey up, Michael. Hope you're all right, mate. See you soon on feeder matches, no doubt. Matt Barker, you alright, sweetheart? Keep up that cooking. What you do is brilliant, mate. Paolo, interesting day. Up, Derek. Ian Docks, that'll be the missus. Harrison Green. Simon Jones, hey up, Simon. Barry Cotton, Fishersville, Rob Hendricks. How are you doing? I'm really good, Rob. Looking forward to getting back to Glebe and doing a bit of fishing, catching a load of fish, hopefully. Gary Lambert, Steve Barraclough, hiya Steve. Amanda Hughes is watching. Lee, Chris Fanning, Lee Butler. Best angler of all time. Best angler of all time. Oh dear. Oh dear. Best angler of all time. I've got to go with Alan Scotton. Alan Scotton, 5 times world champion. You can't get any better than that. This has been some brilliant anglers through the years. I do think I will look in the respect I could speak to Alan. I can always pick phone up and speak to Alan, and Alan's knowledge when it comes to angling is just like ridiculous. Catch your fish in a puddle. I've also mentioned Tommy Pickett. You know, Tommy's a great angler. You know, they've all been there, done it, worn the t-shirt. You know, the list's endless. You can have, you know, these Bob Node, Dennis White, Tommy, you know, Stevie Gardner, Ivan Marks, list's endless. But Alan's my favourite. Sorry to say that, but he's just a machine, absolute machine. Phil, Tony Morris, Ricky, what else read them? I believe in full moon, always get great bags. There you go, Gary, you believe in full moon, it's the thing, you know how we go. I can't even pronounce your name. Pio Del Rosso. Morello, how you, mate? How are you? Stephen Baker, hi Andy, mate. Hope you're keeping well. With regards to the new elastic that you were on about in an earlier question, has it been released yet? If so, what sizes would we recommend for short lining? Let me just see more. Short line and down the edges at the glebe. I would look at, definitely for my short line, Steve, I'd look at the 12-14, what's yellow. And for my edges, I would look at the 15-18. It's orange in colour. The first two sizes. They're what I've got in my kits, what I'm going to be using at the glebe. Yes, it is out. It's not in every shop at the minute, but it is in some shops. You possibly might have to go online to get it, but it's definitely in shops. I know Benwick Sports have got it in. And a few others. Just have a look. Tricord elastic, it's called. It's Maver. It's $11.99 for 2.5 meters and $19.99 for 5 meters. That'll get you 2 kits. Terry, talking about high low pressures, what's your cut-off point between the high and low? Terry, I don't really study it that far, other than the fact that if I think we have 1,000 millibars and it's somewhere near that and below that, there's a good chance we're going to catch some fish. When it gets right up well above your thousands and 20s and that, it's difficult. And just going back to high and low pressures, I'm sure we'll have all had it at times when you get high pressure and low pressure in water. When you actually put your keep, we've all had days when you put your keep net and suddenly you can't get them to sink in the lake. You're chucking it out there and they constantly want to float on the top. That's when the pressures are really at its highest in the water and it's making things come to the top. And we've had it where weeds come off the bottom. That's what your high and low pressures do. So that's always another sign that the pressure's really, really high in your waters when it gets when it starts to make your keep nets float and things like that. Anything under 1,000, it's like game on. We put another net in. Best elastic for strong carp up to 10-15 pound. Taylor Evans has asked that question. Taylor, I think that really goes down to how or where you're fishing as regards to whether you're fishing against any snags or anything like that. I'm not a massive lover of the really big elastics, and by that I mean like the 20 plus ratings, the real sort of like thick, chunky, horrible ones. I've been on about the new tricord elastic, and I think that 15-18 or the 12-14, they will land you literally anything that swims in any open water or any normal margin fishing situation. They will land you most fish. We are being selected. The stronger the elastic you've got in, the harder the carp will definitely fight for you. So don't fall into the trap because you're thinking they're really big carp that you want really big elastic in. You know, we have puller kits now to help with that. And use your puller kits, but a nice 14, 17, 15, 18, something like that will do you for most scenarios. Gareth, what's your biggest weight and where you haven't framed? Gareth, do you know, I can't remember. I think I once had a 247 pound at Glebe one day and never got in, never even got in frame. I can remember once having 147 pound at Ayfield on a pairs match, and I finished last in section. 147 pound and we're last in section. So that's that one, Gareth. I'm sure we've all had them days. And in your opinion, who is the best female angler and why? Marching on together, Jamie Riding. Best female angler. Ooh. I think there's some fantastic female anglers art fishing out there. I think Emma Pickering's certainly well up there, as is, you know, Sam Sim, Julie Abbott. I think the whole England team ladies are brilliant lady anglers. I think Sandra Scott on. Sandra's been there, done it, worn the t-shirt, pardon the puns, and you know she's still a brilliant angler. Is Sandra, but there is some, you know, there's some really good younger anglers coming through, you know, like Sarah Taylor, who's with Maver, young Katie Crooks, Shannon Swallow, a few of them. There's some really good female anglers, and like I said, I just really wish we could get more and more girls onto the bank, and really good, some of these anglers. You don't want to ever draw at side of them, Jamie, trust me. You don't ever want to draw at side of them, because they'll have you. Literally, they will have. They're not scared. Not scared who you are. Ethan, yes, we are keeping all safe. Josh Derry, hiya Josh. Simon Spink, just switched on Andy Kinder. Any Maver match this news? I think I said it earlier, Simon. We still have nobody back in the office to go through any this with all the current situation, things, what's happening. We're hoping to get it. Well, we're hoping that we can all be back to work soon and get this all sorted out. But all the details are all in there. So Alex watching, Dean, Dave Marshall, all the best, Andy. Thank you, Paul, Martin Freeman, Barry Amison, Rich Merry. Right, I've got to end my comments. I think Chris Webster is watching. Right, there we go. There's all ending my comments. I don't know how long I've Robert. Has anybody got any more comments or questions while we're on? No, come on, last chance. I don't think I've missed anybody. Dean Kenworth is watching. Well, anybody what's not actually watched it, I know Clive puts a I think he puts a replay on around about 6 o'clock on the Match Fishing channel. There's 22,000 people he's got on his channel now. He's doing a great job and getting us anglers to come on and hopefully tell you a few stories and hopefully pass on a few tips and everything to you. So thanks, John, for all the best. Thanks for that. So like I say, I hope I haven't bored you too long. It has been a pleasure for me to rabbit on for you for, I don't know how long I can rabbit for Best of England. So it just leaves me one thing to say: stay safe in these current conditions what we've got. Look after yourselves, look after your family. Stick to the rules when you go to these fisheries with social distancing and that, and hopefully we can get out of this pandemic and get back to some normality is everything. So hope you enjoyed it, hope I've not bored you, and hopefully see you out on the bank soon. So all of you, stay safe, and we'll see you on the bank sometime. Thanks a lot, lads.